All right, what is going on, people? You know that sound, the Unfiltered band means yes. Another episode, this one a live episode of Unfiltered, right here and right now. Officially, this will go down as episode 173. Baseball rules. We're talking pitch clock, old takes, new rules, and more. I was going to drop something a little expounded from what I was talking about yesterday a bit on social, and then I was like, heck, it's Saturday morning. Why not? We're a cartoon after all. Do something live. So here we are. And thank you, Unfiltered Band. You could jump on board the Unfiltered Revolution anytime, any day at Casey Stern on Twitter. Get up into the bio, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get all the videos, all the sports, all the life conversation, all sorts of shenanigans and interviews and lists and all sorts of stuff. Because we are live, you can get involved in the chat live through YouTube as well as on Twitter. It's clear. It's easy. Pop it open. Otherwise, you can get to me on delay, reply on tweets and whatnot. And we welcome all of you. Of course, equal opportunists that we are. Those of you who are not live, the folks who, for the most of you, are in this group, listen on Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcast. We appreciate you for being with us as usual and as well. I've got the, I'm sure all parents do this, but you got it, Don. I got the bracelets on the wrist from my daughter's made me. I got the Valentine's Day necklace that my 5-year-old made me. I was coming down here to do this here live little ditty, and my daughter caught me. She noticed that I was not wearing, because she doesn't understand. It's like, not Mardi Gras in the morning for me here in the house on a Saturday, but she realized I wasn't wearing the necklace. So even though she's never going to watch this, now she can know Daddy didn't run down here and take it off. He's still wearing the necklace. So happy belated Valentine's Day and all of the days of February to all of you. Let's get going. As always, we are presented here on Unfiltered by our good friends at BetOnline. BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. Everything from pro and college basketball, UFC, MMA, and more. You're always going to get the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends over at BetOnline. Live betting options, free contests, live scores, almost any sport, any game imaginable. BetOnline truly is the fastest and easiest way to bet all of your favorite leagues and events. Head over to the website today. Use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. It's betonline.ag, betonline.ag, where the game starts as we get started here for another episode of Unfiltered, this one in the live variety, and here we go indeed. Look, the pitch clock, day one. It's spring training. First of all, I get jacked up. I was saying this yesterday for day one of spring training. I'm not a big spring training guy. Even in all the years that I did it, it was more about getting a chance to talk to the players and kind of learn about, the teams and position battles and depth charts and, see some new faces and all that kind of stuff that we do in spring training. But I ain't that dude watching spring training games. I'm not going to lie to you. I just ain't that guy. That's not what I'm about. But day one, first time lineup is out there. Day one, first time you see your new players who you got in free agency. Day one, first time you could sit there and watch actual, forget about, bullpen sessions and pitchers and catchers reporting. I mean, we'll watch videos over and over again, will we not, of guys just walking into the facility, for crying out loud. So the first time you finally see something and you get at it, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, you can't get around the fact that the first time you're sitting there and watching Major League Baseball in spring training, it feels more real than it does like a normal spring training game. And then after that, fast forward for me until the season starts. Sorry. This year is different because this year we got a lot to figure out. This year we got the shift, no mas. This year we got the bigger bases. This year we're going to see about stolen bases. And of course, at the front of all of that pitch clock. Yesterday was a great example. I've been talking the last few weeks, if you've been following me here or on the show. On both, I've been talking about the fact that we in baseball, first of all, let's say this in the nice way and be lovey-dovey about the sport we love, all right? You complain about something not being great enough. You complain about change. You complain about all of the things that you complain about with baseball because you love the hell out of it. You complain about all these things because you are absolutely in a love affair with this sport, and so am I. And for that, we should all be grateful that we love a sport, or we should all be in therapy, or probably both. But we love this sport enough that anything that happens, that any change, that anything that goes on, we're going to nitpick you all the way down from A to Z because you are messing with our sport. It's like messing with a child. It's like dyeing the hair of our favorite dog. You can't do that without my permission. I'm sorry. Don't you know what kind of treats he eats? Okay? This is how we are about this sport. We love the hell out of it, so we don't want any of it to change. And I get that. I get that. But you know that song, Everything About Music for Me, that change will do you good. When you talk about baseball, all change will do you good. In sports and in life, change will do you good because if you are not striving to be better, and it's a life lesson, not a sports lesson, but you ain't striving to be better, you ain't going to get better. And as they say in Rocky V, which I rarely will ever quote because it was a decrepit, terrible film, but if you sit there in Rocky V and you think about when he says, you're missing, Tommy Gunn says to him outside when he's driving off, he's got the girl with him, he says, you're missing the parade. What parade, Tommy? Well, you know what? You're going to miss the parade if you ain't changing in sports. It's got to happen. So I understand that we sit there and we talk about these purists. I don't even know what a purist is, right? I love all the sports. I love baseball. I do, right? But what is a purist? What does that mean? We never sit there and say, well, an NBA purist. I covered that sport, never heard it. I don't sit there and I cover the NFL. You don't hear an NFL purist. Hockey, my favorite sport my whole life. I didn't hear about NHL purists. We got rid of two-line, passing, issues. When we sat there and we changed the crease, I don't hear about purists. Even with the 3-on-3 now, everybody kind of getting used to that too. But, sports change, right? This thing about in baseball where we got to all be watching like it's Casablanca. People treat baseball like it's the Mona Lisa. And by the way, even that overrated. The picture like this big. Have you ever been there before? Go to the Louvre. Really. You ain't missing anything. I promise. But it's all about perception, not reality. And the perception in this game of baseball, this great game we love, this great game we can't soak up enough, people. This perception in this sport is that nothing allowed to change because unlike those other sports, we about the real things. We're about that black and white. We're about that old school. We're pre-DVR. We're pre-TikTok. We don't need that. And we certainly don't need a TikTok of a clock to tell us anything because baseball can be as long and big and beautiful as we need it to be. That's the world we live in. And look, a lot of that is true. If you love baseball, look, I've been at games that are long. I've covered games that are too long, all right? But I'm that dope. I'm that dude who was at that Nate Eovaldi game covering it, and I'm that guy who was sitting there saying, this is the most amazing thing we've ever covered. How lucky are we? While I had to wake up people in the studio I was sitting in that 17-inning game because it took like 19,000 hours. I'm that dude. I get it. But if you ain't changing it, if you're not making things move forward in the times, and certainly the attention spans of kids nowadays, and it's all about with these games, selling that ability and reselling and overselling over and over again, that ability to reach out to young people. If we're not understanding that young people don't have attention spans anymore, then we're not paying attention. But now you're going to pay attention because we got some changes. Let's talk about the pitch clock. I want to know your thoughts. I'm curious. If obviously, if we're live, get at me, and I'll try and get it on Twitter at Casey Stern. If you get in there and you get in the chat on YouTube or on the tweets, I'll kind of throw out there, if I can, live into the show. Otherwise, I'm just curious your thoughts. If you listen to this Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get podcasts, once this is out, later on a Saturday, on whatever date this is, February 25th. This is something where I'm curious what day one, and there are a lot of thoughts, what your thought was watching the pitch clock. Let me give you mine. First and foremost, it looks, and I'm going to give you a lot of good, so don't get on me early, all right? Go easy on me. It looks terrible. It looks horrific. It looks terrible. It looks like that old school alarm clock we used to have. Like I could hear it going off. It looks like we're counting down to a bomb going off. It looks like we're finding out what previously happened on 24. Like, it don't look right. One of the things I have said forever about this sport that we have screwed up on television, and I've said it to people who have laughed at me and disagreed with me in places that I worked covering it on television. This is not about, look, I've seen it on Fox, ESPN, Turner, all these places do it. And that is, we take the best shot. Look, you can, when you're dealing with a jump shot, and I love the NBA, right? And I covered it, and it's amazing. But when you're watching a Ray Allen or a Klay Thompson or whoever's your Allen Houston, hello, Knicks, whoever the guys are you just love watching take jumpers, right? When you see a beautiful jump shot, right, unless it's in practice, that thing is happening on the fly, in flow of a game, and you can only do so much until you get to the replay because there's only so many camera shots you can use. It's a different life. It's a different thing with that court in the NBA and the up and down and how much movement there is, all right? The NFL, before a play, you certainly get a little of that love on that snap, but then after that, it can go pretty much anywhere. Hockey, never really static and standing still. Tennis, back and forth, follow me where I go. Well, here at baseball, we got this one thing that nobody else got. We got this one shot that is just beautiful. This beautiful shot of one-on-one, mano-a-mano. I'm sitting there behind the pitcher, and I am looking into the catcher's mitt. I'm looking at the signs. I'm watching the batter get ready. I'm watching the umpire crouch down, and I'm about to sit there and get, and this is a PG-rated show, but this is the money shot of this sport, all right? That's what this is. That's what this is. That one shot where you are sitting there and you're looking dead center. And I've said in this sport on television for years now that we've made a mistake. To me, now this is going to be a lot of this that I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to be on the side of change, and you're not going to like me if you're not. In this case, the old fogey's going to like what I'm saying here. There is a beauty that is different about this sport. There is a romanticism. How do you not be romantic about baseball? That is different even about the camera shot I'm describing in this game. It's just different. It is. It hits different in a different way. You just look in, and that whole thing, it's 3-2, it's 2 out, it's the 7th inning, it's a tie game, and that pitcher tired, and what the hell we got, and he's looking in, and he's shaking it off, and I get all that. I don't need to hear a damn thing. Just let me watch that and inject all that in me, right? Well, I don't need to have a box for a strike zone like I'm playing on a PS4 around it, because you could show me all that in a replay. I don't need graphics behind running in the like in the boards of a hockey game. Show that to me afterwards. Get it out of my face, and I certainly don't need a giant damn clock counting down right next to me. And I can already hear and feel there are people who did not watch what I said yesterday about the pitch clock and are not going to listen to the rest of this, that not going to realize that I'm in favor of it. But I'm just giving you it, and nothing black and white, people, right? This is just the way it is. We're all learning and accepting and loving and changing, and I like most of it, but I don't like how it looks, and aesthetically, it looks like garbage to me. I don't want to watch a big clock count down. I don't. That was the most bothersome thing to me. And I mean, look, think about what I'm saying, but if I'm at the park or if I'm certainly on TV even more so, it looks terrible. It looks stupid. Your shot clock in the NBA, even there, it would be like if the shot clock was at the top of the key on the floor, resonating above between Steph Curry and the defender. Like, honestly, think about it. That's what it would be like. That's what it would be like, the running game clock in an NHL game at center ice while they're skating back and forth. We don't see that, do we? Now, we see 1st and 10, 3rd and 7 on the graphic on TV in the NFL, right? We might see the clock counting down to the play, but it's in a little bug. This right there, I mean, it's in your money shot right there. So aesthetically, not a huge fan of it. Not. But the pace of what we saw yesterday was, I would use the word inspiring if you're a baseball fan, because we have got to get the game quicker, not in amount of time. Because I've said forever, if tonight you're with a loved one And you're sitting there, if you've been listening to me for years, you've already know where I'm going. But I got to do it again because I just think it makes the most sense. I think analogies in real life make the most sense. That's how we are. If tonight you're out there and you're thinking, okay, Netflix and chill, but on the Netflix part, where hey, honey, do you want to watch this movie? And they say, okay, let's watch the trailer. Well, wait a minute. Does that say the movie's 3 hours and 7 minutes? I ain't watching that. We ain't watching a movie that's 3 hours and 7 minutes. Now, if I told you the movie was 2 hours and 59 minutes, are you really going to watch it? Now, you may watch an hour and 59-minute movie if you're not watching 3 hours and 7, but you ain't going down 8 minutes. You want that whole thing because it's way too long, right? So to me, the things we're doing in this game, no offense to spring training games, which, by the way, it's like, has anyone ever covered spring training? Spring training games are always quicker. So, again, and I'm in favor of most of this, but this idea, there were 2 games yesterday, and they both were 2 hours and 30 minutes. The entire world has changed. By the way, people, everyone wants to get the hell out of there and go golfing or wherever they're going, back to their hotel pool, including the umpires. And every spring training I've ever covered, the spring training games are quicker. Are we serious? Did we not know that? I couldn't believe what I'm seeing yesterday. Like, do you think every game could be like that? You think when it matters, it's going to be like that? You know why it's quicker? Half the reason it's quicker is because nobody cares. Sorry. So let's just get reality there. Now let's back up. The pace of the game was faster. The pace of the game was quickened. We got a better feel about getting a feel. And that's important because I don't want to be able to take a bathroom break at home. I don't want to be able to take a bathroom break at the park. I don't want it to be like that concert that's too long and here are these 3 songs that are garbage. I don't want that. I want you to get me riveted. And in baseball, it's not whistle to whistle. It is harder to do that. But this makes it easier to do that because there's going to be a pace to it. I can expect it's going to move. And you felt it moving. Now, I will say, for me, and this is just how it came off yesterday, and again, I want all your thoughts, but the way it came off yesterday to me was it was even a little bit faster. It was even a little bit faster than it probably even needed to be. It was real quick. That thing was coming up on you fast. And the question I have, and I'm curious, really for pitchers watching and listening more than for me, because I need to talk to somebody who's going to go through it to understand it and then to tell me what it's going to be like. But I think that pace of these pitchers going quicker and quicker and quicker, I'm curious to know if they're going to gas out faster. I want to know if they're going to get tired faster because you could do that in an inning and a reliever comes in and bam, bam, bam. Okay, great. But if you are now getting your arm to go even that, look, think about the creature of habit that a pitcher is. I mean, think about it, honestly. I mean, these pitchers, how many times we've seen Scherzer, Kershaw, whoever, like, the TV commercial, delays before the game, their routine, and it's like everything out of whack, right? These guys creature a habit like to a different level. Well, what's it going to be like for that arm and that shoulder and everything they're used to feeling when all of a sudden it's not just about I threw 100 pitches, but it's about how many pitches and how fast I threw, because I don't need to sit there and be some great athlete, because certainly I'm not. But for any of you who are sitting there, I don't care if you're doing curls or 16-ounce curls. I don't care what you're doing. Anything that you're doing that all of a sudden you quicken up the pace, right? Your arm going to get tired quicker. I want to know, am I wrong? Like, I'm no doctor, but to me, it almost seems like an obvious thing that not for relievers, but for starters, they're going to get tired faster. I think that's a thing, right? Look, the pace was different. And I felt it. I loved it. And I honestly thought it was great for the sport. Everything that changes is bad. I remember when illegal defense changed in the NBA. Oh, my God, we can't do that. Like, come on. It's like doesn't matter what it is, everything. Now, look, some things need to change. I still don't know what the hell a catch is in football. Do you? But we are going to be against anything that takes away from the beauty of this great game we love. That's the obsession. That's the love. That's the romanticism of the game of baseball, people. But at the same time, that pace yesterday, you go watch these games today, you're going to feel it. It's going to look different. It hits different. It feels different. It is faster for sure. For sure. But will the guys gas out? Will that pace hurt them? Then the other part of it is, to me, and I said this yesterday, I like the game being faster. I think it needs to be faster. And when I say faster, I don't mean amount in time, right? Baseball's not on a clock in general. It's always going to be longer. You know, I used to get and go to Islander games all the time, and I go to Knick games all the time. And you sit there and you go to these games, and I remember I could get train tickets and know which trains at Penn Station I was going to hit after the Knick game, or at least if there's overtime, if there's not, before the game started. I already knew exactly when I could get picked up by my parents if I'm in high school, because I knew exactly when the game was going to end. It's going to start here. It's going to end there. The game is going to start at 7. It's going to end at 9:30, maybe 9:45. I'll see you at 10. That's just the way it is. Well, baseball never been that way, right? Unless, Maddox and Burley are pitching. It's just not going to be like that, right? Tom Glavine. This is just not who we are. We get that. But I think the pace and the action and the amount of things that happen within that time is more of the issue. I want to see more running, and we're going to get more stolen bases. I miss the hit and run, right? There are a lot of things about the action in a game. No offense to the home runs that all of you like watching. I'd rather watch a guy dive in the gap to go make a catch. I'd rather watch a guy leg out a triple. I'd rather watch a guy go from first to home and see if the cutoff man can make that throw on a hop. I want to know. That's what I want. I want that. That no other sport gets to enjoy. No other sport gets to enjoy things in this manner, in this way. Whereas if you're in the middle of an NBA game, and part of it is great, like in an NCAA tournament game when it's late and things are crazy, because there's only so much clock left in the game. There's only so much left on a shot clock, and you don't have a lot of time. Do you take a timeout? Do you want to let the defense set up? Do you push it down the floor? There's only so many Tyus Edney plays that we can get in other sports. It's amazing how the NBA sets up that way and how basketball and college can set up that way because of the clock and how it works. In baseball, though, on the other side, well, we don't have those moments necessarily, even in a ninth inning. What we do have in baseball is we have this drawn-out drama. We have this end of the show, last episode, and I don't know if I'm getting something glorious or if I'm about to watch the Red Wedding for my baseball team. But I am going to drag this thing out for a few extra seconds, have a mound visit, take a step back, shake off signs, think of pitch sequencing, batter in the box is thinking, what is he going to throw me? And it ain't as easy as I'm on PlayStation trying to hit X to guess or square to have a guess pitch. It's just different, right? And we slow that down, and then we build and build and build and build that drama, and it's just a different animal, and it's part of what we love. What I am curious to see is, do we lose some of that as viewers? Do we lose some of that in the stadium? And do the players lose some of that opportunity to slow that thing down in big moments? Because sometimes in big moments, you're going to want that extra second. You're going to want to step out of the box. You're going to want to be able to think because it is such a big moment. Now, being fair again, everything's got two sides, right? Devil's advocate. That's part of what we love that you don't get in basketball or you don't get in hockey. 35 seconds to go. Goalie pulled. What the hell's going to go down, right? That you don't get Eli Manning against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, 18-1 high. David Tyree, right? You don't get all that. We love that. But in baseball, we do love the ability to slow that thing down and play it out like it's some drama on television. I mean, we can make this thing General Hospital real fast in this game. Losing some of that, I'm curious to see what the impact will be. Nothing that changes in a sport or in anything in life as great as this game is, and it is great. For all the faults it has, it's amazing. For all the things we say it's not, it is amazing. For all the things we wish it was, it is already and is to such a high level. But with change come questions. And there aren't definitive black and white answers yet. People are going to come out because it's easier. And trust me, the business I work in is a business where we just give you a bunch of BS half the time. And we just tell you something with real strong conviction because that's what we, hey, they're produced that way, so to speak, right? Here's some real strong conviction on how I feel. And you don't even care if what I just said is the dumbest garbage you ever heard because then you got a reason to go tweet and yell at me, right? What we don't do is we don't step back. And in this sport and in this industry nowadays, and we don't step back and be honest and say, I don't know how this is going to work across the board. I liked some of what I saw. I didn't like everything I saw. I think some parts of it work. I think other parts probably won't. But that's that's how we grow. That's how we communicate. And to me, that's the truth we live in. That nothing black and white easy, especially when you're talking about change. Do you like the pitch clock and what you saw so far? When you watch the games today, how is it impacting your game that you watch on TV? If you're at the parks today, how did it impact you in the crowd? Tweet me at Casey Stern. Get in the YouTube comments. Jump on Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcasts. The conversation will continue not only till the season, but during the season, after the season, looking back at the season, and that is what change does. And a lot of that conversation is good. But there's no right and there's no wrong. As long as you understand that the only wrong is if you're telling me this isn't a great game. Is it fallible? We all are. Does it need change and growth? We all do. But is it still baseball that we love? The best there is, ever was, ever will be? You damn right. As always, we at Unfiltered